All right, so cosine of 75 degrees. This is the same thing as saying what number divided by 2 is 75? 150, right? So here's our theta, right? Is 150 degrees. So the formula for this, cosine of half, it's either the plus or the minus, the square root of 1 plus the cosine of theta divided by 2. So it's either the plus or the minus, square root of 1 plus, what is the cosine of 150 degrees? $150 is cosine value. Put it in calculator if you don't remember, right? You see the decimal, but you probably could recognize the decimal as being a negative square root of 3 over 2. From here, I just got to clean it up some. My math lab is going to want you to go as far as possible to clean it up, meaning try to get rid of any complex fraction under the radical. We'll take the correct one in a second. Whoa. Here we go. Screen's jumping. So that's 1 minus the square root of 3 over 2, all over 2. All right, now to simplify the complex fraction, if I multiply everything by a common denominator in there, which is the 2, plus or minus 1 times 2 is 2. These 2's cancel. Minus the square root of 3 all over 4. All right, let's go ahead and figure out if it's plus or minus. If I'm looking at cosine of 75 degrees, that's in quadrant 1, everything is positive, right? So we can stop doing all this plus and negatives. So we're taking the positive square root of the numerator and the square root of the denominator, and that simplifies 2. You can leave radicals under radicals. Sometimes they can simplify out, but most of the time they're difficult to do. And that's our answer. It'll be a good idea to check this in the calculator. I'm in degree mode. The cosine of 75 degrees. That number, I gotta do this, the square root of 2 minus a square root, still under the radical, of 3. I'll just hit enter here and then divide it by 2. It's that same number. So we all right. All right, let's say if the cosine of alpha is negative 2/3, alpha is given to be between pi and 3 pi over 2. Find sine of alpha over 2, cosine of alpha over 2, and tangent of alpha over 2. And so the first thing you want to do, or maybe it's the last thing you want to do, figure out where alpha over 2 is. I'll say let's identify where alpha is. This is quadrant 3. So alpha over 2, half of this will be between pi over 2 and 3 pi over 4, right? So just take half of those endpoints. So that tells us between pi over 2, 90 degrees, and 3 pi over 4, that's is quadrant 2 now. So if I say sine of alpha over 2, sine in quadrant 2 is positive, cosine is negative, and tangent is negative, right? All students take calculus. Everything, all of it's positive in quadrant 1. Sine and its reciprocal positive, everything else negative. Tangent and its reciprocal, everything negative. And C, cosine, it's positive and its reciprocal, everything else negative. All right, so we're going to be using 1 minus the cosine of theta, or alpha in this case. Over 2 for the sine. Cosine, it's going to be a negative 1 minus the cosine of alpha over 2. And the tangent, a couple ways we can do this. We can use a formula. 1 minus cosine of alpha over 1 plus cosine alpha. Or we can get those values for sines and cosines and divide it. Form that quotient. All right, so we're given cosine alpha. That's great. What if I were given sine? Well, I can still figure out cosine. I gotta just use the Pythagorean theorem, one extra step, right? And figure out that trig function. All right, so it's just a matter of plugging in. So 1 minus negative 2/3 over 2. Let's go ahead and just work that one out. So that's 1 plus 2/3 under the radical. All over 2. I can multiply everything by 3 in this case. And simplifies to 3 plus 2 in the numerator makes 5 over 6. Yeah, we could simplify that some more. My math lab makes you rationalize things, right? I square root of 5 over the square root of 6. Top and bottom by a square root of a 6. It's a square root of a 30 over 6. All right. Cosine, very similarly. 1 minus, I'm sorry, that's supposed to be a plus, right? We wrote the wrong formula. That's 1 plus cosine, right? So 1 plus the negative 2/3 all over the 2. Yeah, these you just have to be careful with your signs, right? This is the biggest challenge with the half angle formulas is the simple fractional arithmetic. A lot of people will put 1 plus a negative and they will say that's just 1 plus or something. Simple mistakes like that. So just be careful with the arithmetic and their signs. So it's going to be 1 minus 2/3 all over 2. Again, we're going to multiply everything in here by 3. So we now get a negative square root of 3 minus 2, right? Is 1 in the numerator, 6 in the denominator. That can be simplified. The negative square root of the 1 over the square root of 6, negative 1 over the square root of 6, rationalized. That is negative square root of 6 all over 6. All right, next for tangent is going to be that negative of all this again. 1 minus negative 2/3. 1 plus negative 2/3. Okay.
May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. Please evacuate the building by the nearest exit. Do not use the elevators.
We'll call it a day. We're much better anyway, so.
May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. Please evacuate the building by the nearest exit. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. Please evacuate the building by the nearest exit. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. Please evacuate the nearest exit. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention? May I have your attention? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. By the nearest exit. Use the elevators. May I have your attention? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. Please evacuate the building by the nearest exit.